'Cause come what may. Sunshine State, where secrets hide. In Tampa Street, she seeks out lies. With a sharp eye, she'll reveal the truth. Justice calls and she pursues. From county jails to hallowed courts, she finds truth where they distort. Fearless heart and mind so keen, Sam unravels tangled seams. The truth is buried deep in files. Fairness is what they try to hide, but Sam prevails, she's got your back. With grit and grace, she never lacks. Uncover lies and play no games. From jails to halls where verdicts lay. Truth her compass, come what may. Footsteps echo in the night. She chases justice with the light. A warrior for justice for all. She won't stop when she hits a wall. Florida Pisam is her name. Uncover lies and play no games. From jails to halls where verdicts lay. Truth her compass, come what may. Uncover lies, play no games. From jails to halls where verdicts lay. Truth her compass, come what may. From jails to halls where verdicts lay. Truth her compass, come what may.
Did somebody ask for Henry? Good evening, everyone. Hello. You can see he is alive and well, unhappy at the moment, but very fat. Okay, you can go. I had to hold him through the whole song. Hi, guys. Hi, everyone. It's really nice to see you. Happy 4th of July. I can't believe it's July already. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Laura, Interesting Captures, for redirecting your premiere into my stream. I appreciate you. Hi, guys. Hi, everyone. Hi, Joe. Let's see. I want to say hi to everyone really quick. Guys, it's been a week. Squeegee was here first. Hi, Squeegee. Thank you. Hi, Amy. My mom. Hi, Mom. Who am I missing? I'm probably missing people. Barry, good to see you, sir. Patty. Great Gams. Thank you for being here. See Morales. Oh, it's been a month. You were my first member, too. That's awesome. It's been a month. No wonder my hair just keeps getting grayer, you guys. It's amazing how fast time passes. Hi, Bama, Barry, Cindy Stovall. Good to see you. Trial TV Live. Hey, Erin. Hi, girl. How are you? Afton, thanks for joining. Hi, Bama. Laura, I think I said hi to everybody. My cat is adorable. Thank you, A. Stevens. Would you like to take care of him for a while? He likes to go through the trash. So, okay, I hope you guys have had a safe weekend thus far. If you're like me, just holed up and did nothing. What's on the docket tonight, Squeegee, is we're going to turn back time. But first, before we do that, I have a couple of little things to say. I'm going to try to say here. It's been okay. Let me try to not be full on ADHD right out the gate. Okay, so as I said, I think in one of my more recent streams, and I don't remember which one, the one I think where I announced that I was only going to do this every other weekend for a little while was because work has gotten super busy. So I am a licensed private investigator in the state of Florida. I do work on criminal defense cases, primarily on court-appointed cases like Sarah Boone. Thank you, Laura, for your super chat. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. First of all, I have myself like full screen, and that just weirds me out. I do work on court-appointed cases like a Sarah Boone case. So, and a lot of you guys know this because a lot of you guys who watch my videos or my lives, even if you're watching on replay, you've been with me for a long time. I've had a lot of cases that have been hanging around for too long. Like, you think some of the things you see on YouTube take too long. I can beat it, I promise. But finally, some of those cases are going to go to trial. If everything goes to trial that is supposed to go to trial this year, there will be a trial starting, I believe, this month and not stopping all the way through the end of the year. Two of the majors are DP cases. But as we learned this week, you can come up to the eve of trial and things can change. So not only is that happening, right? And I do go to trial with my attorneys, depending on the attorney. Some attorneys don't want me there. This one particular attorney where I have a lot of cases with, I worked for a very long time prior to becoming an investigator. I'm just sort of enmeshed in the fabric of that practice. So, and I've known those defendants now for a very long time. But then recently, I started getting referrals. Oh, look, Henry's having an adventure. Then I started getting some referrals in for some private clients. And then an attorney that I had worked for previously that I hadn't worked for in a long time, he reappeared with a fairly decent case where a person might actually have not done the crime that they are accused of, which is so exciting. So, like, I've had my business as I've had my license as an investigator since 2019. I've had my own agency, I think 3 years now, I'm not sure. But it's just me. So all of a sudden, like, work is finally, like, things are moving, right? And stuff is coming in. And one lawyer that I've been working for a long time finally just was like, okay, yeah. And then, like, avalanche. So I've got so much with real life work that I'm having trouble putting time into YouTube work. So I'm doing the best that I can. It's not great. My interaction is not as much as I want it to be, but I've got some cool stuff coming up. I was talking with Joe Schmo earlier. I think we're going to have a collab in the works. Interesting Captures, Laura and I have a collab coming up, which if I would ever get to call her and talk about it, we'd get that rolling. I was inspired this week by Kohberger taking a plea. I have a members only live video planned. I don't know what day yet. We had talked about maybe next Saturday, but I'm not sure. And I think that you'll find it really interesting because it's a case that I worked on. It was a DP case. He was a sovereign citizen, declared his innocence for 5 years before changing his plea, but not in exchange for taking the DP off the table. And part of it's on YouTube. So that is something I'm excited to bring you guys. Then there's this new thing here on YouTube called community spaces, right? Which I found out about through an email. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I love this. I wanted a place where like my subscribers we could just chat. Like it didn't have to be in a comment to a video or anything like that. So I did that, but now I can't find one person, and you have Michigan in your username, and I'm so sorry. I think you have a picture of a cat. Wrote me a post on there, and it was out there sitting for like 5 days in limbo until Alexis is like, where is this? And I'm like, how did I not see that when I wrote a post later that Larry Powers replied to? So I'm still stumbling around YouTube. We're doing the best we can here with it. Alexis gives me a tremendous amount of help, but it's definitely not perfect. If I have missed a comment, if I have not responded to you, I apologize. I try. It's like there's 4 different places where I see notifications, and also I'm always doing 10 things at once, and I should not ever do 10 things at once because then nothing gets done. So anyway, those are some of the things I wanted to talk to you about. And let's see. Oh, I wanted to, because my dad, who I do not see here, so I do need to check in on him. Yes, Squeegee, I promise I will answer your question here in just 1 second, because it's a really good question. Let me just put that up there. Okay. Oh, so I guess some questions on memberships, right? My dad asked me about it, and Susan Ann, my stepmom, asked me about it. So a membership is just where you can pay a monthly amount to support the channel. It just means that you pay YouTube some money, you pay me a little bit of money. I think mine start at $1.99. I only have 1 level right now. You get access to the like custom emojis with Henry or with me, or whatever emojis we've made, How to Crime with PISAM. And you cannot become a member of a channel from an iPhone or an iPad. If you're going to use an iPhone or an iPad, you have to go to a web browser and go into YouTube that way. You can't use the YouTube app, or you can just go to a computer and you can do it that way. And you can always ask your friend Google how to become a channel member. Also, in that process somewhere, you can turn on this enable gifts. And then when people are gifting out memberships, you're eligible to receive one. And those are just gifted. If a person buys, say, 5 memberships, they don't get to pick who they go to. It's just a random YouTube thing. Okay. So, and then you get access to also like members only content, which I don't even know how we have ours set right now. If you can only see it if you're a member, or if you can only comment if you're a member when you're live. I need to have a conversation with Alexis about how we're doing that. And I don't remember what I set up. Shocker. Okay. So enough about all of that. Let's see. In Florida, does the defense need a special lawyer knowledgeable in DP? Oh, yes, sir, they do. That is a good question. In fact, it requires 2. They do. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure. Yeah, everything does go to trial. Yeah, exactly. You go to trial. And then, you guys, a really big case. Oh, thank you, Joe, for gifting out memberships. Thank you, Barry, for gifting out memberships. Who else gifted out memberships? Thank you. Oh, thank you, so nice. You guys are so sweet. Oh, here we go. Barry, Joe Schmo, and Laura. Laura, did you change your photo? I'm looking at my other screen. I can't see crap, you guys. So 15 of you guys, whether you're here or not, just got memberships. So congratulations. Be sure and thank you guys, and welcome to all the new members. It'll be a fun live stream. I promise. Like I had, it will be worth watching. I promise, and I'll do all the prep ahead of time and everything. Because it's you guys will eat it up. I'm sure of it. Okay, Squeegee's question. You do need if you're going to be a court-appointed attorney to represent someone in a DP case, then yes, you have to meet certain qualifications. I don't know if as a private attorney whether you do or not, because I work primarily, I mean, the DP case is like, who can afford those kinds of defenses, you know? But it ties back to the JAC, and the JAC is the Justice Administration Commission. It pays for people like me, private, it pays for all of public defense in Florida, all of the stateside public defense. So it pays their salaries, the ones that are in-house, and those of us who are down the food chain and who are, independent contractors. But in order to be on the JAC list, to be a death qualified attorney, you have to have tried so many cases to completion at so many felony levels. And then your continuing legal education has to be when you do it every 2 years, I think 18 hours of it, I probably got the numbers wrong, have to be in one of the two death penalty CLEs, which is death is different and life over death, both of which one is in the spring, like I think death is different is now and life over death is in the fall. So you have to complete that as an attorney. And so, like, for example, my friend Scotty Sonardi, who we've had on here, he's new. You guys know he's super young and he's a new attorney, but he managed to get like 2 trials in just before the deadline. So he made it onto the list for misdemeanors. And now as he continues to sit second chair or get his own cases where it's trials tried to completion, doesn't matter the verdict, you just sort of ladder your way up, right? So there's only a certain number of death qualified attorneys in the state of Florida, and we are running into a problem because you need 2 on every case, one for the guilt innocence phase and one for the penalty phase, because we don't call it a mercy phase here, we call it penalty phase. So you need 2, and we are running out of them in that some are retiring, some don't want to do it anymore, and there are too many cases. And when you've got 5 co-defendants all facing the DP, that's 10 death qualified lawyers you need. That's crazy, right? I mean, that to me, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. So I do have a plan for tonight, you guys. Hey, you guys, thank you everyone for your generosity. Thank you for showing up. I can't believe it. I'm so happy to see you all. I was like, I'm not even sure if we should stream. Okay, I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. Oh, gifting. Okay. You can gift, click under in your studio and you see you can gift 5 at a time. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. Okay, so here's what we're going to do is we are going to talk about the Kohberger case, but not. What we're going to do is we're going to play a little game. I don't have fun cat pictures to show you, though. I apologize. But it got me thinking, what if the Kohberger case had happened pre all the tech we've got? Pre everything they used to get to him, right? So remember back in the early days of Law and Order, when all this technology didn't exist, I thought we could talk about what that would I thought we could talk about whether or not we think that they would have gotten to him without that. So Patty says no. Amy says no. Okay, so I don't know. Like I've told you guys, sometimes friends of mine who are just friends of mine. They don't know anything about crime. They don't care, are here. My family doesn't really care about crime. The case we are talking about is the 4 young, beautiful college students who were brutally, whose lives were brutally taken in, I believe, November of 2022. The man who the police charged and were ready to try starting next month was facing the death penalty in Idaho. He had court-appointed counsel, which I found to be really interesting. And we had, I had all kinds of ideas about things I wanted to talk about regarding that case. And I've narrowed it down to just this bit for now. I'm not trying to give him any more fame. I don't want to talk about whether the prosecution made the right decision. None of that. What we know is that he was been charged for these crimes. He was about to go to trial. He changed his plea and has admitted to have done the crimes. So all that we're now waiting for is sentencing, and I can hear the fireworks, just like right outside. Hopefully you can't. What I want to talk about is the investigation. Okay. So let's talk about that, how they got to him, and whether that could have happened in 2002, which would have been 20 years pre-crime, but we're taking it back to 25 years. So Alexis, help me, math, 1997, I believe. So we did some research. Right. Okay, so we did some research. We did some research, and there's a reason why I picked 25 years, because there was a hard line kind of in technology. But let me let's see. So Patty's saying no DNA, no Ring cameras. Barry says trying to track his Amazon. Okay, you guys are all with me. Okay. Hey, Kelly D, welcome. All right. Okay. So you guys are, I hear you hearing me, I think, right? All right. So I'm just going to take it back to 1997, because in doing our research, we found, and how time flies, we found where tech sort of entered the game, right? It may not have been as mainstream as it is now, but it existed. So we're gonna start at yes, Barry, like being a CPA in the days of paper ledgers. Okay, so in 1987, they had witness interviews, obviously, right? Manual record keeping, crime scene processing. We had the BAU. So, analyzing an MO, right? Looking for, let's see, if I had gone in there, think about it as going back to like Criminal Minds or Law and Order or something of that nature. So what would they have had? How many of you guys, you tell me, did you have a cell phone? You guys tell me. I'm sorry, you guys, if you can hear I can try to switch to no, I can't switch to my other headphones. They're dead. I'm sorry. If you hear the firecrackers, I apologize. Okay, who had a cell phone in 1997? Joe Schmo had the flip. Bama didn't. Patty didn't. Laura did. Kelly D had a cell. Okay. All right. So I remember the year I got mine because there was a shooting at the college I went to in 1993. So that was my justification. I just wanted the phone, you guys. But I also had a pager because the minutes were like $5 a minute, right? So you like your friend would page you and you'd call them back real quick, like, oh yeah, what is it? What do you want? No, listen, I went to a very nice college, Patty. We had pagers to tell each other to call each other. It was insane. Okay, so, all right, so Barry didn't have a cell until 2002, but his dad did since 96. All right, so if we were going into a crime scene on a college campus in a small town in 1997, we're going to assume that cell phones weren't prevalent. Okay, Karen Cole, text and call only after 9 p.m. I think it took a while for that to even happen, Barry. I remember I moved from Dallas to Los Angeles and I had to get a new phone number, new carrier, right? And then I moved from Los Angeles to Columbus and I had to get a new phone number, new carrier. And then Florida, same thing. But then finally they were like, you can keep your phone number. Squeegee says, I kept my phone off and didn't answer emails until 2004. Good for you, sir. All right, so what do we have then? We go in, we see this crime scene, and we can call crime scene processing out, right? We can call out the crime scene investigators, the CSI unit. And then what do we have? We're going to knock and talk, right? We're going to canvass the neighborhood. Do we think there's going to be a lot of Ring camera footage? No, because Ring cameras didn't become rich people had surveillance cameras, maybe on their security systems on their houses, but I don't think that in Idaho, in this small town, we would have been looking at that. Traffic cams. Do we have traffic cams? License plate readers? What would we have done? Yes, forwarding house calls to cell phone. Karen Cole. Barry, that makes sense. And that's very funny also. Barry says his dad had a cell phone because he ran the sewer department. So he needed to be found quickly when things went shitty. That's very clever, sir. Well done. So what would we have done? Would they have found him? Here's what I was thinking, okay? So I'm thinking small town Idaho Police Department has this horrible thing happen. What do? Well, they're going to call the state police, but they're also probably going to call the FBI. Okay, well then I'm not a profiler, but I read the profiler book that came out right around then in the beginning of the BAU, the Behavioral Sciences Unit or Behavioral Analysis Unit. So what are they going to do? They're going to try to profile this guy, right? They're going to they have one piece of evidence left at the scene. That's the sheath of a K-bar knife. Okay, so obviously we're going to fingerprint it and DNA it. But then what else do we do beyond that? Okay, the way I was thinking about it was we're going to start looking for, has anybody recently been released from the military and moved back into the area? I'm going to canvass all the Army, Navy surplus stores. Have they sold any K-bar knives within the last 12 months? I'm going to look at offenders in Idaho recently released. I'm going to look for similar crimes. I'm going to try to do it that way. I want to know what you guys think. Let's see. Okay. All right. Amy Cruz says there are some police cameras in urban areas. Okay. Let's see. Fingerprints and DNA and question people in the area. Right. Right. Oh, Alexis had said outdoor gear stores for the knives for a knife purchase. Right. You're going to talk to all the people who had parties and talk to all the friends and all the neighbors and all the people. Would they have gotten there? Would they have gotten to him? If we don't have license plate readers and we don't have phones, and we don't have Instagram, and we don't have TikTok, and we don't have Twitch, if we don't have all of that stuff, would he have gotten away with it? Because remember, the DNA, when they first put it into CODIS, it didn't hit, right? There was no hit in CODIS. It was a back end around that got them the DNA. So let's look at, so my answer is, if this took place in 1997, I don't know. But let's talk about how tech sort of evolved, right? And see what kind of things were available. So early instances of law enforcement accessing private online data occurred at the beginning of the internet in a 1990 case, if you can believe that. But it also involved the Secret Service. So, and then we learned this today. The DoorDash witness wouldn't have existed. That's right. So Barry is saying a lot of the capabilities to do this existed at the time. We just didn't figure out how to do anything with what we had. And some of that is partially true. Yeah, for sure. So up until May of 2000, we learned today that a government policy called selective availability intentionally degraded the accuracy of GPS for civilian users, making it less precise than the military's use of the technology. This was disabled in May of 2000, leading to a significant increase in accuracy for civilian applications, mainly used, the civilian applications in 2000 were mainly used in commercial applications like over-the-road trucking, fleet delivery, etc. In 2001, searching the internet on cell phones became more common, right? And usable for most people in the US around 2001 with the rollout of 3G networks. Okay. Tell me, Kelly D, I have an emoji for that. Kelly D is saying, so I'm not saying we should do crime, but if we did do crime, how do we get away with it today, or can we not? I would argue that it's almost, okay, there, you could get away with a technicality. You could get away with committing crimes based on technicalities, because in order for you to be found guilty of a crime, the state has to prove every element of the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. So if they're missing an element of a charge, if they can prove element 1, element 2, element 3, but not element 4, they can't find you guilty. That's reasonable doubt. So yeah, you can get away with crimes. I mean, I always joke around because I'm not here to instruct you guys on how to do crimes, but you need to be as non-technological about it as possible. People Googling themselves, people getting caught on Ring cameras, surveillance cameras, Googling the crime, posting about it on social media. I mean, I make the joke that the people who commit crimes don't watch true crime, because if they did, they wouldn't do the stupid stuff they do, right? I mean, look at the Barry Morphew case. They indicted him once, had to let him go, found her body, and they were able to find enough evidence to lead it straight back to him. And so, yeah, I don't know. So Afton says, don't tell anyone, don't choose a victim you have any personal connection to. Don't search for anything online. Leave your phone and wearable at home. Okay, but if you do all of those things, right? If you leave your phone at home, then that looks just as suspicious as turning it off or being there. Unless you're always at home at a certain time of night, right? But you also don't know where cameras are. Cameras are catching everything all the time. There are traffic cams. There's license plate readers. There are not just cameras on businesses, but cameras in neighborhoods. And I'm looking at a case right now, 14-year-old. Did you know what? To another 14-year-old, because it just doesn't stop, where the whole thing is just basically, I mean, it doesn't show the actual shooting, but it's all on surveillance or Instagram. They didn't even need his phone. You know, I mean, it's just, and every person that the cops went around and talked to, they may have had a camera on their house. Every single one said it's not working because they don't want to be involved. Well, there's a portal. So police just go to this portal for Ring and they say, crime happened on this day, at this time, at this place. We're looking for any and all, you know, recordings made during that time. So, you know, yeah, it's a lot of effort. Yeah, and in England, Karen Coles, right? They do have CC cameras everywhere. Afton, don't think you'll get away with said crime. Dum Dum was getting his doctorate in criminology. Okay, so that would have been something else. That's a really good point, Amy Crew. So when I was talking this through earlier today, I said, well, okay, then the next thing I would do is I would look at students at the university, right? And ask who may have been studying in forensic. What was he studying? You guys, come on. Criminal justice with what he wanted, an emphasis in digital forensics in rural areas or something. What was he testing his own theories? I don't know. But I would have totally gone and looked and said, does this university have a criminal justice program? Are there any people that applied to the police academy and didn't get it? All the things. If you've watched any of the drama TV shows over the years, they're not wrong on everything. You know, there's some good thoughts to be had there. Yeah, just look at Jeremy DeWitt. Yes, go to Interesting Captures and look at Jeremy DeWitt. So Kelly D then says, my phone and watch are with me all the time, so if I left my phone at home and turned it off, that would look so suspicious. Exactly. Squeegee. Afton, so criming is effort. Criming is effort, Squeegee. Also, getting out of criming is. Donna Barnes says Rhode Island has cameras everywhere. Okay. Great Gam says she waves and smiles to the cameras in the store. Right. Afton's not motivated enough. Me either. I spend enough time in the jails. Squeegee, I don't know if some states have backed off surveillance cameras. I think it's about whether the state wants to spend the money. Isn't Criminal Minds mostly based on true stories? I believe that it was initially created that way. I don't know. It was John Douglas who was the original sort of. Do I have that right, guys? You'll correct me if I'm wrong. I know you will. Amy says he probably thought he was slick crossing state lines. He was a Washington resident. Maybe. All right. What year do you guys think the iPhone came out? And don't Google it. No cheating. When did the iPhone come out? Because I was really wrong. Don't cheat. Afton, yes, parts of Criminal Minds are realistic. A lot isn't. I agree. Shamar, great game, Shamar. Donna, okay, so Donna Barnes thought iPhone came in 2013. I thought it came in 2009 or 2010. Squeegee says Star Trek. Of course, Barry Adams always has to be right. Alexis, remind me to ban Barry Adams from future polls. He's always right. Okay, so in 2007, the iPhone released with built-in GPS. I'm trying to scroll the wrong computer. Really, it's just, that's where we are. In 2009, Google Maps for mobile came out. And in 2012, smartphone use surpassed dumb phone use. By 2015, 75% of Americans owned a smartphone. When did you start using a smartphone. And does a BlackBerry... Okay, here's my question. I don't know that I know the answer to this. I had a BlackBerry. I had something before BlackBerry, then I got a BlackBerry. We've talked about Blackberries on this show before. Karen Cole says, I did a video on the Kohberger case regarding his alibi saying, do we need to look directly at cameras, save receipts in case we are ever accused of a crime? Well, it doesn't hurt, I guess. I mean, if anything, I have learned, if there's anything I have learned going to law school and then working in the legal profession, is documentation is everything. And so, like, when people would call and they'd be like, so-and-so is doing this to me, and they're doing this, and they're doing this, and what can I do? And can't you call the judge? No, I can't call the judge. I would just tell people to document things. And I would tell them this over and over and over, and they'd call back every week with, she's doing this, or he's doing that, or whatever. And I finally have a client right now who, were it not for his documentation, and his extremely thorough documentation of literally everything on a daily basis, he'd be in so much trouble. I will be surprised if his case is not dismissed based upon what I have thus far seen, based upon what I know thus far. And so that's awesome, right? Because as I tell you guys all the time, I'm not here to help guilty people go free. I'm here as part of the system, hoping to help it make it work the way it's supposed to work, which we all know it doesn't really work the way it's supposed to work. Okay. Oh, hi, Dad. Okay, good. Dad's here. That's good, because now I can not stress over that. Okay, so Facebook. Okay, so Facebook came out, and Facebook became widely accessible to the public in 2006. All right, I didn't have Facebook until, I want to say it was like, trying to think through years of my prior life. I want to say like 2009-ish, maybe. Dad, Great Gams is asking how you are. Barry Adams. Well, thank you, Legal Minded Friends. Karen Cole says, hi, Dad. We're very proud of PISAM. So some of you guys know, my dad got a very severe case of pneumonia, and he has very damaged lungs from a fire from when I was a child. He went to when they released him from the hospital, he went to a VA rehab that he liked very much. He is now at home, and he says he's getting better. So thank you, everyone, for asking. Appreciate you. Okay, so when do you guys remember getting a smartphone? And does a BlackBerry, Alexis, did we ever answer the question whether BlackBerry was considered a smartphone? You could email, and I feel like you could do a little web browsing on it. Okay, so 2010, live streaming on social media became available, Facebook and Instagram specifically. And then 2014 through 2015, mobile live streaming on something called Periscope and Meerkat. I've heard of Periscope, but I never heard of Meerkat. And then 2016, wide use of mobile live streaming via Facebook Live and Instagram Live. Thank you, Bama. Everybody's happy, Dad, that you are that you're happy doing better. Oh, that's so nice. You guys are so nice. Thank you. You guys are all very sweet. Yes, and he said, good. B Michigan, it's you. Oh my God. Okay. B Michigan, hi. Thanks for joining. Sorry to point at you. You left a post on this communities thing that I talk about back in the beginning of the video. And Alexis was like, why was this up for like 5 days and you didn't respond? I'm like, what are you talking about? I respond to everything. That space, right? That community space that just rolled out, I can figure out how to post in it. I'm not getting notification like you made. It allows channel subs to make posts like you did to me, right? You asked me a legitimate question. You deserved an actual answer. But I never got a notification. So if you do go back and you watch the beginning of this video, all my rants about that are there. And so I'm so sorry. I apologize for that. And we're working on figuring it out. Okay. So did you guys tell me, everybody, thank you so much for your well wishes for my father. And I know he appreciates it very much. And as I do as well. Yes, don't be afraid. I just yelled at you. B Michigan, I apologize. Yeah, community posts, great games. I like it too, right? Because we can talk without you having to comment on a video and then me respond to a comment on a video. Like if you're going to leave mean things, I'll probably delete them because I get enough hate in the real world. I don't need it on here. But if you want to like talk about stuff, like I know there's 3 of you out there in the realm of people who are subscribed to me that want a Trevor Summers video from me. You'll get one. You'll get one. Maybe I'll have Squeegee on since he ran the trial. Okay, so when did we start using smartphones? Was a BlackBerry smartphone? When was GPS tracking? I'm so all over the place today. All right. So let's talk about some of the tech that 20 years ago in 2002. So if we take the Idaho case back to 2002, what would they have been able to do using cell tower triangulation? It would have existed. It would have been limited somewhat in accuracy. And while the technology, like Barry said, existed, the legal landscape surrounding cell phone tracking and privacy rights was still developing. Court decisions concerning law enforcement's access to cell phone data, such as the Supreme Court's ruling in Carpenter v. United States, came later and established clearer guidelines regarding warrants for accessing historical location information, right? Because it's not about where you are right now, it's about where you have been. But I thought, so Carpenter, if I'm not mistaken, was a 2018 case. We can look at some of the cases regarding this stuff if that's something anybody's interested in. But Riley came before Carpenter, and Riley was about being able to search cell phones themselves. So law enforcement in Idaho in 2002 likely had the technical capacity to employ cell tower triangulation for tracking. But did they have the resources for it? Did they have the towers? That would be my question. Let's see. Hang on, guys. Let me go back. Okay. B Michigan's like, okay, not a problem. Blackberry Adams would said, I would call Blackberries a smart feature phone, but I wouldn't call them smartphones in the way we understand. That makes sense. That Amy Crew is saying that when she said pneumonia, liquid vitamin A and sublingual vitamin B12 really helped. Cindy Stovall wants the link for the community chat. Girl, if we can find it, we will give it to you. The Holly Bobo case, that just says up for trial right now. That's an old one. There's really now. Hey, Kelly, you changed your name. Now it's Kelia. But you're Kelly Collins, are you not? Thank you for not changing your picture. Glad to see you. I was just talking about you. You'll have to go back to watch to find out why. Kelly D says, BlackBerry was the beginning when they were phasing BlackBerry out. That's when I jumped to my first iPhone. I went to an Android before I made it to iPhone. Barry says, remember the old phones, and if you clicked internet on that old menu, you'd go, oh, no. Great Game says, gossip and liquor got people talking about crimes back in the olden days. Yeah, Cindy, we'll figure out the community space, because I actually was really, I was like, I wish there was a place, right, where my subs, like, we could have conversations about things where I don't have to make a video, you don't have to watch a video, but like we could actually talk about something without taking you off to another platform. And because clearly my attention span and timing, like, so this is a great feature if people don't abuse it, and abusers will not be tolerated. Hate is not tolerated here. And I've never had to boot anybody, thank goodness. But yeah, we will find it and we will broadcast it to you. I know I have had a conversation with somebody on there, and B Michigan asked me a question on there that I didn't get notified of until Alexis somehow found it today. So we'll work on it. Okay. Patty, I went to iPhone when my family was out of state because Skype was so messy. I've almost happy Saturday to you as well. Karen loves Android, as does a number of people. Kelly D lives in somewhat rural Oregon, and they are still laying lines to get faster internet in some places. All right, well, let me just tell you something. My father, the one who's here in the chat, where he lives, he's on satellite internet because he doesn't have a choice. And it's ridiculous. His bandwidth is restricted. Like, for him to watch my live stream is dedication. I could not I got a notification today that I've used up all my high-speed data on my phone, and I have like so much high-speed data on my phone. It's because I tether my phone to my computer when I go to certain jails, and I listen to my favorite YouTubers when I'm in the car. All right, so I want to tell you about a case that happened in Portland, Oregon in 2002 about what happened when they tried to use cell phone triangulation. So remember, we're talking about Kohberger, but we're talking about, could they have gotten to Kohberger pre all the stuff they used? And so in the summer of 2002, Lisa Roberts was arrested and charged with the death of her girlfriend. She maintained her innocence, but on the eve of her trial, prosecutors presented her cell phone records as evidence. These records showed that her phone had used a tower near the park where the victim's body was found. Roberts' attorney, believing the cell tower data could pinpoint her near the crime scene, advised her to plead guilty, leading to a plea and a 15-year sentence. However, years later, new lawyers and experts discovered that the prosecution's interpretation of cell tower evidence was flawed, and the ignorance of the defense attorney. They found that the tower in question had a broad 360-degree antenna with a range covering over 300 square miles, meaning it could not accurately pinpoint Robert's location to a specific spot near the crime scene. So a judge eventually overturned her guilty plea, citing that the expert testimony on the inaccuracies of the cell tower evidence could have altered the trial's outcome, and she was released from prison after almost 12 years. The case demonstrates that while cell tower data was being used in investigations around 2002 to place individuals in general areas, the accuracy and interpretation of this evidence were not always reliable, and its use could have significant consequences for defendants. So again, we're looking at what tech was available in 2002 versus 2022, and how they got to Kohberger, and could they have gotten there? So in 2002, they still would have had in 2002, they still would have had cell records, right? Thanks for becoming a member, Kelly D. Appreciate you. Native Americans don't get internet either. Yeah, Cindy, I know you're kind of in the boat with me, which is it might have been, they might not have gotten him and it would have become a cold case. Okay, so but remember when we first got cell phones and we got those wicked long phone bills? Remember that? That's kind of what the carrier detail records are now. It didn't have the content of any communications. I don't think it had latitude or longitude, but it would give us incoming, outgoing phone numbers, length of time, that sort of thing. So they did have access to the record keeping that carriers had. If law enforcement obtained access to a suspect's phone, they could conduct a digital forensic extraction, such as deleted data, app usage history, internet browsing history, photos, and videos. But it would depend, right, on the phone you had and the plan you had. And I mean, I distinctly remember walking into a Verizon store one day and saying, "Could you just give me a phone? Like, I have a camera. I just want a phone." Because I just thought it was so ridiculous. Like, we're trying to take pictures on these tiny little phones. It made no sense. Roaming charges. Yep. The roaming charges. Okay, so video surveillance. Now, in Kohberger's investigation, what I have learned, and I am not, my whole premise at the beginning, I forgot to tell you the point of why I told you about my work being so busy and why I'm not on or around YouTube as much as I wanted to be. My whole point in telling you that, I just lost the thought again. Oh my God. Seriously? Really? I read something just now. Something reminded me, and now I forgot it. I have so many cases that are so similar right now involving 14-year-olds that I can't keep in my head, I can't keep the facts of them straight. So the question would be, okay, so if they got your phone, would they have to send it to the FBI in 2002? Would the Idaho State Police maybe been able to extract a phone? And what could they extract from a phone? And there's this ever present question of, and I think it's been answered now, which is if they extract my phone today and they can only get what technology can pull out of it today, but they do it again in a year, they can get more information. And I now know that for certain because I read it in a police report this week, where they couldn't get into the phone. They had to wait for an update. As soon as the update came through, they got into the phone. They were able to get more stuff off the phone. Well, they were able to break into the phone and get the phone. Yeah, I know, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm tired and I'm disorganized. And more stuff just keeps popping into my brain, and I apologize. Welcome, Telltale. No, I'm not on any catnip. I'm not. Let's see. Do we have power over what matters and what doesn't? What more info? What am I missing? What if he was an undercover and texting the dudes who got popped March 2023 and the local cops had no clue and yet chose them as their dude? No, Kelly, I do not need Henry to bite me in the ankles anymore. I apologize. I just I have so many thoughts running through my head. It's insane. So in 2002, do you think they would have had Do you think they would have had a shot at catching him in 2002? Versus, like, really long shot, unless he did it again, right? If he did it again, then somebody's probably texting me telling me to get my shit together. No, lightning has been detected within 15 miles of my location. No kidding. Not with those cops. As tech improves, additional deleted data may surface better GPS location. I mean, so based on what I read, right, in the probable cause affidavit, and the fact that I don't know every single factual detail of this case the way a lot of you guys do, or the way a lot of true crime fans on YouTube do. I don't have the time. Obviously, I'm struggling to keep my own case load afloat, which I have to because the cost of living is ridiculous. And you saw how fat my cat is. But it seems to me that although the public didn't think they were doing a very good investigation, they were in fact being pretty thorough about it and quiet about it. But ring camera footage, surveillance camera footage, played a tremendously huge part in this case. Huge. And I think that's the one thing people don't factor in the cases I have, right? Is these kids walking up and down the streets, breaking into cars, then that becomes armed burglary. And once they take your gun that you've left in your car, don't leave your guns in your cars, people. I think that the surveillance videos and his phone are what caught up to him, right? Yeah, Kelly, I mean, again, I think Kelly, yeah, sorry. I'm so used to seeing you as Kelly Collins. Like, how am I supposed to change that? It seems like his family was suspicious. I'm guessing other people would have been as well. Again, like, I would have, my thoughts would go to, okay, is there like a criminal justice program of some sort, or, looking towards the students. What are people studying? I would look for patterns in the state. Like, I think you would have to do a lot more. And we don't know all the insides of the investigation. And the thing is, people think that a lot of this stuff is going to be released, and I'm not sure that it will be. And yeah, people want to know why and why he did it. And I think he's just a person who needed to do that. Like, that's just his cellular makeup. And I think that my personal opinion, and it's only my personal opinion based on my own thoughts, is that he took that plea because he wants to be able to grant interviews or write books or have books written about him, not to make money. I think he wants to be studied. I think he wants to go down in history. And if you are caught up, I know people give interviews from death row and later are exonerated or whatever, but if you are caught up in ongoing appeals, you may be better off keeping your mouth shut, right? But I don't know. I'm speculating like everybody else is speculating. I've heard all the legal arguments. I understand them. I think that Ann Taylor, she did what she was supposed to do. She advocated fiercely for her client, and she did that very thoroughly. But it's interesting to think about because I see it more with the kids that are my clients, that I can't believe are my clients. That they don't understand that there's this world outside of them, right? They think they can put their stuff on Instagram, and law enforcement's not going to see that. Law enforcement's not smart enough to catch that. That they can, slide up and down these streets. It doesn't occur to them that there are cameras recording them, and those cameras are clear, So I think it's getting harder today to commit the perfect crime if one exists. But I encourage you to think about it, whether or not they would have got, based on what you know, would they have gotten to him if this was pre-tech, Reddit, K Tally Pitlove. Oh, hey, nice to see you. What, give it some thought, like from what you know, right? You guys watch all different channels. I know you guys because I know most of the other channels from which you come, right? I know how you got here to me. And I see you over and over again because I'm one of the few channels who's I've got the upside down metric. The people that watch me are the people that subscribe to me. I know you guys. I know you're smart. I know you watch these cases. I know you know the things. I know you're all over the place. I see you in the other chats. So think about it. Just give it some thought. Like in your town, if this had happened in your town or your city or your college campus, right? I'm trying to think back to my college campus. And if something like this had happened there, and I was in a big city around in the mid 1990s, would they have been able to catch the person who did this? It's just an interesting thought, right? Because a lot of the technology that we take for granted is accessible and used by, and then there's the Amazon thing. So we also had a conversation about the Amazon thing. Tell it to Ellie I'm not ignoring you. Just give me a second. So we looked at Amazon, and Amazon didn't start selling things like beyond books, 25 years ago. They started right around, what do we say, like the 1997-ish time frame as well. It didn't, you guys, I mean, I'm an investigator for a living, and I thought I had seen every form of information that the government can get on you, because I work on federal cases too, so they go everywhere. Amazon search history or purchase history, that's a new one. My default is the Walmart incident aisle. But I forgot or never thought about Amazon for buying your incident supplies. Never thought of it. I learned things. Tell it to Ellie. I respect all of you and just found you, and I'll happily admit my wrongs, but something with the IgG and DNA tied to his daddy mattered, and I'm determined to figure out who he is tied to, as I was told. Okay. Well, we're having a conversation right now. I just made myself full screen again. We're having a conversation right now, not about who did it. We're talking about could a crime like this have been solved without the technology that's available today? That is my focus. So, of this particular conversation, and I think there will always be questions surrounding this case, unless unless he is the person and he writes a tell-all book. I mean, I don't know. I think that he wants to be studied, and he will be, I'm sure, without a doubt. But what got me thinking about it is, like, the lawyers that I work for, we're all frustrated because everything is on video or phones or whatever. And so, like I've told you guys before, it's almost like I'm an analyst to some degree more than an investigator, because I'm taking huge amounts of data, including cell phone data and location data and all the things, right? We've talked about the cast report where I did the collab with Tanika and Trial TV Live Squeegee and Joe Schmo with the cast report, showing you guys. We were talking about that with one of the other cases, and I don't even remember what case that was, but I gave you one of my own cast reports. So when I do my members only live, that's going to be from my old files. I try to share here in my jumbled thought kind of way about all the different stuff that I encounter, and it just amazes me. Actually, Scotty and I were talking about it the other day. We've got somebody who is on camera committing the crime who says that it's not him. He wasn't there. Kel, yeah. That is the question. We don't have one. We don't. I have a DP case. I'm so excited to get this DP case from a different lawyer, right? So I go out there. I try to keep bits and pieces. Like, the stuff I tell you guys about my work is true. I might obscure things or combine people to make things a little less difficult to figure out. But went out there and I met the client with the attorney, went to the scene with the attorney. Attorney turns over discovery and says, I need you to go through all this video. Okay. So I sit here, I go through all this video. And then I slow it down and I blow it up. And there he is, standing right out in the middle of the street, pulling the trigger repeatedly. Now, there was a fight that happened prior to that. So I go back through all the video again. I run all the cameras, all the camera footage. I managed to get it all so that it is coming in side by side, because I don't have editing skills. One of the reasons I don't edit is because, one, I don't know how, and two, I don't want to watch myself because this channel would never exist, and we've talked about that before. But I pull in all the camera feed. I can do that kind of work. I just pull in all the camera feed and I start tracking the individuals, like watching it frame by frame by frame for hours and hours and hours. I watched the whole night through. And I've not done anything else since then. And I've seen the lawyer, I've talked to the lawyer, and he's like, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. And if the state does not offer the plea, hey, Matt, it's nice to see you. If the state is not offering a plea, because remember, a defense can go and say, hey, we'd like you to offer us a plea deal. Like what? But if the state says no plea, then there's no plea, right? It has to come from the state. You can't just go to the judge and say, hey, judge, guess what? My client will change his plea if the state will say yes, please. It doesn't work like that. In Florida, can you ask for a plea as a defense? Yeah, you can always ask. I mean, I have that conversation 5 times a week with Scotty. Like, is the state offering anything? You guys going to ask for anything? Well, we've asked. There's no offers, And And then it has to come from the state. And if you listen to the hearing, oh my God, my big computer just reset itself. Are you joking? Oh, you guys, seriously. Please. Yeah, you can ask. You can ask. But if the state doesn't want to make an offer, then the case goes to trial. It's not up to the judge that says, hey, state, you have to offer a plea. It's up to the prosecutor, right? And the other thing that I want to talk about on my members only live that I want to do about the real case that I was a part of here, where he changed his plea, but not in exchange for anything, is, and the indictment came 14 years later, was why? Because he was already serving 200 years in the federal system. So I think it's a really good example for you guys of like weird stuff that can happen in cases. And for Tampa, that was kind of a high profile situation, but the courtroom was empty. Do I have to turn over that footage? That footage was turned over to us by the state. It's not footage that I got. It's footage that came from the state. Everything I look at on the state appointed cases comes from the state. So the new client that I got, who did all the documentation that he did, that's not court appointed. That's a private case, which means an attorney came to me and said, I have actual dollars to pay you to do what you do. And I went and I met with the guy and he showed me his phone. And I was like, I asked him a lot of hard questions, but I see what he has. Do I have to alert who? Kel, yeah. This is going to kill me, changing your name. Do I have to alert who? Okay, thanks for becoming a member, Matt. That's very kind of you. Thank you. The state. If there's exculpatory, so there's a reciprocal discovery obligation. So, you file a notice of appearance as a defense attorney, and you file, let me re-caveat this one more time, right? I have a law degree, went to law school, am not a licensed attorney, am a licensed investigator, just saying, in my experience, which is limited to Florida. The attorneys I know file they file their notice of appearance, file written plea and not guilty, waiver of appearance, demand for discovery, right? The state is obligated to turn over their discovery within 15 days. At least that used to be the rule. And it's been a minute since I studied the rules of that demand for discovery. But there's also a demand for reciprocal discovery. So if we have anything as the defense, such as an alibi or whatever, then yes, we're obligated to turn that over. But what the state provides is all these terabytes of data that I sit here and go through all day, every day. Just watched so many hours of baby cam card that recorded in 1 minute intervals. There were 2,000 clips with sound, right? Oh, got you. State knows this. So Alexis is explaining it to me because she understands the way my brain works. Everybody give Alexis applause because she puts up with a lot of shit. Okay, so the question is, if I watch the video and I saw the evidence that the state gave to me, then do I have to tell the state about that part of the video? No, that's their obligation. Like, no, I don't have to do that. That's their discovery. That's their evidence. They know that. That's how they caught them. Right? They had it on video. They just don't have to give it to me in their final product, their work product. My work product was what I gave to the attorney, right? I got the raw footage given to me. He said, make this make sense to me. Track it, track the events, show me the people, show me what happened, right? I don't want to sit here and stare at footage from a nightclub for 5 hours worth of feed from 4 different angles and 3 different businesses. You do that. This is what you're looking for. See if it's on, see if it's true, see if it's on there, see if it's what it says in the indictment. So no, I don't have to say anything to the state about it because the state has it in their possession. Just like they don't have to tell me if there's something in their discovery that, as long as they turned it over to me, they don't have to flag it for me. Oh, hey, by the way, this one ping right here, this is the one we're going to take you down on. They don't have to tell the defense that. So, yeah. Yes, thank you for clapping for Alexis. Bama, I hear you on the power. Blinking off and on. Do most prosecutors give you a ton of discovery all mixed up? Oh. The answer is it depends. And actually, it's not always the prosecution so it's a prosecution who's turning it over, but what they've done is they've just taken what law enforcement gave them and they throw it into a portal called evidence.com and they send out the link, and then you hope that the files that should transfer together so that they're complete, because when they break apart, then you can't see what they're meant to see. So it kind of depends on who the law enforcement agency was. I live in Tampa, Florida, so was it the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office? Was it the Tampa Police Department? We got some cell phone stuff from the FBI. I work on federal cases, and I also work on statewide cases, so that'll involve multiple law enforcement agencies, and it just depends. I do spend a lot of time sorting crap out, though. Let's see. Can I tell if video has been altered? Like, am I an expert in being able to figure that? I'm not qualified to be an expert in anything. Sorry, Larry Powers has entered the chat. Yeah, maybe, but if it's coming from a DVR, then it's an extraction done with a program similar to Cellbrite called Axiom, and then the final report is in Magnet. That's where all the baby cam footage that I just watched came from. Was an SD card. Larry Powers. Larry, Alexis is investigator Henry, so all requests must be directed to her. She's the one that creates the AI images of Henry. Let's see, Mads. I was really on the innocent side with Kohberger. Now I don't know. Just annoyed they drove the family through hell for so long. They need an explanation. They need to know why. I mean, in terms of when this crime was committed and when it's come to trial, yeah, it's time for that. nobody is ever going to be happy, Mads. You know, I say this all the time. I think justice is personal. I don't think I get to decide for you what justice is for you for something that has happened to you. I don't think that's my choice to make. I work in the justice system. I try to ensure that people who are charged with crimes get a fair defense, right? They get an opportunity for a defense, that they get to have some shot when the odds are very stacked against them resource-wise. But think about it, and I think that's why that members only video I think will be really compelling, and I probably should schedule it to be for some length of time, because there's a lot of conversation that can go around that particular case concerning time and the why of it, and the judge even asking that. But I think about it this way. I don't know that if I had lost a loved one, I don't know if I would think the death penalty was justice because of the appeals process, because I would be dragged through hell for at least 10, if not 20 years to come. And it would cost so much money, and it would just be hanging there over my head for every appeal that was filed, for every little, on and on and on it would go. In the state of Florida, if you get life, you're not getting out. You're done. Life is life here. We don't have parole. Right? So in some ways, I think that maybe, in my personal opinion, this is better for the families, because they're not going to have to go through court proceedings forever and a day. I just don't know. Dana Renee. Okay, so some of you guys know each other from somewhere. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. Tell it to Ellie. Did I go to PI school or real school? Not that both aren't real, just curious, like how much, because I've spent too much thus far. I have a law degree from an ABA accredited law school in the state of Florida, which means I have a lot of student loans. And then I went through the proper channels in the state of Florida to become a licensed private investigator. So I have the designation Juris Doctor, like some people have PhD, but I'm not Esquire, which means you are a licensed attorney. So I have a JD and a PI license, and I own my agency, and I am about to turn 52, and I've been working in criminal defense in some capacity or another for the last 10 years, because I went to law school when I was 40. Oh, hi, Henry, you're back. Let's see. Kelly D. At Mads, what if they went through trial, found he was guilty, but the jury hung on death? Wouldn't it be all right where it is? Why are these not staying up? Right where it is today, and this saved the families all of the tragic details. I mean, the whole thing is tragic. I agree with you. Alexis is saying that he is not she is not investigators, Henry. She is his agent, and this is true. BK will he give a pre-sentencing statement, or will he be allowed to do so? That will depend on what the rule is in Idaho. Can I ask if you think BK was a Fed? And the tears of the prosecutor almost and judge, because maybe they got caught in organized crime. I do not think. Okay, tell it to Ellie. I believe that there are conspiracies out there. I honestly do, because I live in the state of Florida and I've worked on some of them. I do not believe that case is one. Yeah, I know there's a split between the families. You know, it's up to everybody else. It's Larry Powers, I told you, don't go to law school unless you want to pay for it, because it's expensive. My loans for 3 years at a private law school I graduated from in 2014 are now $400,000. They want $5,000 a month. Do you think that the state of Florida pays me an hourly rate that would cover $5,000 a month student loans? They don't. It doesn't. I look very good for my age. Well, thank you. Tell Ellie I'm turning old in September, and that's amazing. Oh my God, as I type, you say when you were 40, that's my big B day. Thanks for inspiring. You're welcome. I started when I was 37. I graduated, as my mother liked to tell me, as the oldest person in my class in May of 2014. Joe, give me something. Does staying at a Holiday Inn Express really make you smarter in the law and or emergency procedures, medical procedures? No, sir, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. No. No, no. In California, you can pass the bar, and so long someone hire you, you win if you're Kim Kardashian. Yeah, well, Kim Kardashian is doing a hybridized program that does not exist in very many places. Oh, yeah, I forgot, Larry, you do have GI Bill. So, okay, I had just wanted to sort of turn back time with you guys and think about the Kohberger investigation, because, you know, as if it didn't happen in 2022 and we weren't sitting here talking about it in 2025, where I'm sitting in my home in Florida and, as my dad likes to say, broadcasting to people across the country, and in some cases across the world. I don't know where OnlyFan is tonight, but Legal Minded Friends Karen Cole was here. And I am, you know, I'm interested in having these conversations, and I'm sorry when they get rambly, but I want you to think about this stuff, right? Because things are not always as they seem, and I learn more and more every day about the process, about people, about what I'm capable of, processing. Thank you, Patty. I appreciate you. So, you know, I learn from you guys. I learn from the cases and the trials on YouTube for when I can get to watch them, which lately has been not so much. And I've told you I'm not as up to date on stuff as I'd like to be, because some days I can't go from sitting here, literally here, working on these computers, on these cases, and then go watch more crime stuff on YouTube, no matter how much I love my friends and their channels. I just, there are days I just can't do it. So I don't always have all the answers, but I'm always willing to have the conversation. And I hope that's why you'll keep coming back. I hope you'll tell your friends. I hope we can all find the community space where we can have conversations. I am really excited about doing the members only live stream, and I will definitely post that for you guys. Where will we be in 10, 20 years? Good Lord. I don't know. Kel, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. Thanks, Tell, appreciate you. Joshmo, things are not always as they seem, and things are not always as some people on social media say they are. That's not about you at Florida PISAM. That's about other people. Yeah, I mean, you guys, we all, if we're watching crime, if we're crime people, if somehow we've managed to become a person whose job is 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 investigating crime on a daily basis, we always want to know the why. We always want to know the why. And I think that he may be one of the specimens that history studies and not just some deranged tweaker. Yeah, but I don't, maybe we'll never have the answers. But I have a feeling that he wants to give them. I really do. So we'll see. And yeah, I'm really glad that, like, I didn't think I'd have this many people on 4th of July weekend. We almost weren't going to stream at all, and then I was like, there's people like me that don't go out and do stuff, so let's just come in and say hi and have one of my rambly chats. So let me know your thoughts in the comments if you weren't here on the live. Yep, I'm out too, Miss Patty, and I thank you guys all for being here. Stay safe out there, okay? Be sure and like, subscribe, share to your friends, be a member, all the fun stuff. And I'll see you next time. Bye.